Hello, welcome to another live video. It's so wonderful to be here. So we're here every Monday at 7 Barcelona time, so Central European time every Monday, and I pop in for about 20 minutes, half an hour, depending on the topic, and I talk about various different things. And if you have any topic requests, then obviously please do comment in the comment section. I pay attention to all the comments and all of the suggestions as well. Like a lot of my podcast episodes are from people, from listeners requesting particular topics. So there are a lot of topics that I have on my list that I want to share and talk about, and also there are requests as well, and I pay attention to those. So yes, there's a few things I want to talk about today, and I just wanted to check in. Like, how are you? How are you feeling? How's your heart? How's your week starting? How's your week starting? Mine started with a lot of work as usual. Monday's a very jam-packed day for me. It's catching up with a lot of things, and also I have a couple of other jobs that I do along the side as well as this one. And yeah, there's just a lot of catching up to do over the weekend. There's a lot of emails and things to go into, though it's nice. I'm always happy for Monday, like raring to go. Like I've never had that Monday morning dread since being self-employed. I had that when I was in a 9 to 5 job. Though since I quit that and went self-employed, then that disappeared because every day is different. I love it. Obviously, there are other challenges that come, though. There's, as Elizabeth Gilbert says, that there's always something within every job that is a little bit challenging to. I mean, she describes it in a different way. She actually swears, but I'm not sure if I can swear on YouTube Live, so I won't. And but yeah, how she describes it, that there can be things that we find challenging even in the dream job as well. So this is a thing. Life is made up of polarities. This whole universe, this whole world is made up of polarities. And we have these different polarities in life to learn from, to grow from, to explore, to evolve as we go through the experience of walking in this planet of polarities. So yeah, there's many different things I wanted to share today. The main message really is talking about where can we find the messages? Like when we're going through life, when we're going through a challenging time, when we're struggling with something, whether that's a relationship, whether that's job, whether that is some particular emotion, whether that is health issue, whether that is whatever it is, whether there's something that we're struggling with. Sometimes we're searching for answers. It's like, oh, how can I figure this out? What can I do? How can I get rid of this? How can I solve it? How can I fix this? Often we go into this fixing mode or wanting to avoid things or move away from things that we find difficult. And if there's something we're finding challenging and we want to really find the answer, and we're looking for the answer, and we're like, oh, what can I do? How can I resolve this? How can I figure this out? There are two main areas. We can look outside of ourselves and we can look within. So first I want to talk a little bit about looking outside of ourselves. So there's the external and there's the internal. And this goes with what I was talking about in terms of polarities, because we have the exhale, the inhale, the going out, the coming in within. We have night, day, hot, cold, all these polarities. And it's the two together that are really, that create wholehearted, integrated experience in this planet. If we're only going in one way, or another way, and we completely ignore and miss the other, then sometimes we're missing on a little bit of wisdom there, or some gifts or insights or opportunities or experiences that we could benefit from. So, for example, going to the external, so finding answers externally. Now, obviously, this, like your interior wisdom, is one of the greatest things, and it's so important. So, I'll talk about going internally in a minute. Though sometimes it can be really useful to have a little look in the external. So this is not to follow anything blindly. It's not to take other people's opinions or advice as gospel without consulting the inner. Again, it's the two together. It's not one or the other. It's not about like, oh, this is what society says, or this is what my teacher says, or this is what my guru says, or this is what my friends say, or my mother or my father or whoever. Like only going like on the outside and looking externally cannot be like, it's not very beneficial. Though we can benefit from a little bit of that. We can learn when we hear stories and experiences from elders, people who have walked the path before. Perhaps there's some wisdom there that we can learn from them, that we then don't need to make similar mistakes again. Obviously, learning through experience is really valuable, though we can learn from people who have walked that path or who have been in similar challenges. That can be really useful. So whether that's teachers or our parents or other people, it doesn't have to be older people, though the older generation are very have a lot of wisdom, and often they're kind of shunned in society and pushed to one side, which is a shame. Not many of you know this, though many years ago I worked in a nursing home and I was working with the elderly, and I was working with them quite regularly. And there was so much joy and wisdom and stories in that job, like what I would hear from them, like the experiences that they went through. Wow, like just to sit down and, I mean, obviously during the job I couldn't do that, though when I finished that I could actually like talk to them, or like as I was like doing the job I could chat with them, and it was just really interesting just to hear the wisdom from people who have had experiences in life and have learned and grown and evolved from those experiences. So we can learn from the external, we can learn from people, we can learn from society. Doesn't mean we have to follow it blindly, though we can learn. We can observe, we can learn with loving curiosity. And another really important factor, which sometimes is overlooked, and it's in the external, is that we can learn from nature. Nature, the environment, this is one of the biggest teachers we have, one of the biggest teachers, and often it goes overlooked. Like there's a lot of talk nowadays about saving the planet and climate change and recycling and cutting down on fuel and looking for renewable sources of energy and watching what we eat as well, like not having an excessive meat consumption that can contribute to deforestation. There are many things like that. Though often what's missing is seeing nature as this living being, this wise living being, this mother nature, this great mother that is there and can offer so much wisdom and so much wisdom and so many answers for things. So if we're just like paying attention to nature and we're simply just sitting with presence and we're watching the sunset, or we're noticing the rain dropping and bouncing off the leaves, or we're noticing how the trees are moving. We're noticing the flowers and the new growth and the different seasons, how water moves as well, the sea, the lakes, the rivers, all of that. We can learn from that. It can be a reflection of how we navigate our internal world, how we navigate our emotional states as well, how we navigate life. Everything's there. It's like we have all the answers being displayed there if we pay attention to it. It's like in the night sky, you've got darkness, but there's still light. When the sun sets, it's the ending of something, but the endings can be so beautiful as well. And the sun still rises the next day. There can be a massive storm, there can be rain, there can be thunder. And after that, when the clouds clear, we can receive beautiful gifts like rainbows or the sunshine. So we can observe nature and notice what little messages are there for us, what little messages are there, and how can we really learn from that, grow from that, and evolve from that, and use that as wisdom from the environment, from nature, to help us navigate life, help us navigate challenges. Many people say that the external world and our immediate surroundings and what we experience in life is a reflection of the inner. Everything's interlinked. Everything's interlinked. Like this world of polarities, we have these different polarities, but everything's interlinked. So we've got the external. Now let's talk a little bit about the internal. So the internal, some people will argue that this is the most important. And I like to, again, I'm talking about both, I like to see an integration of both. So listening to others, learning from others, listening and learning from nature, and also going in within as well, like paying attention to what's there within. It's the two together. So going in within is really important, just like really listening to what is my heart saying, what's my soul saying, whichever part you want to connect to, that all-loving part, the part of you that knows everything already. And simply just setting that intention, because even if you feel that, oh yeah, but I'm not sure if I have a part that knows everything, or I don't know what my higher self is, or if there are answers within, simply just setting that intention to connect with that is like you're opening up the door for answers to pop up if they need to. Because if we're so fixated on, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, and we're just focused on, I don't know, and we're only looking at, I don't know, we're not going to find what's possible because we're still focused on, I don't know. You see what happens is like where we're placing our attention and focus is important, and our intention. I intend to open up space for new possibilities, new ideas, new insights to arise. I open up the space for the answer to reveal itself. So going inwards, connecting internally, you can simply just set the intention, place your hand on your heart, and ask yourself, okay, well, what's my heart saying right now? Or what does my soul want right now? Like, what is it communicating to me right now? Everyone experiences this in many different ways. And if we're new to this, it can feel a little bit, ooh, the mind is like, oh, I don't know about all this. Though, again, setting the intention and just connecting to that loving curiosity. I wonder what message is there? And you can bring this into journaling. So if you want to get practical with this, you can simply just write the question on the top of the page. What's my heart communicating right now? And then just start writing. Notice what comes up. Even if you feel that you're making it up or it doesn't make any sense, just keep writing, keep writing. Just allow whatever needs to come through to come through. And by doing that, sometimes you can be really surprised. Perhaps there's an insight there, perhaps there's an answer to whatever particular challenge you're working through. This is how the expansions messages that I share in my newsletter, and also sometimes here and on the podcast, how they arise is through writing it. Writing's really powerful. So you can write, you can simply just connect with yourself and go through the question internally. You can meditate, you can adopt a mindfulness practice. There are many different ways to go inwards and simply just create a little space, create a little space of serenity and calm for whatever needs to come up. Sometimes the answer pops up straight away, and then other times it may take an hour or a couple of hours, maybe after your meditation. You've completed that, and then suddenly when you're in the shower, it's like ding, it pops up. Often that's where it happens, in those moments where we're in the present moment, and it just suddenly pops up when we're like in the garden or in the shower or washing the dishes. I remember years ago I had a limiting belief that suddenly just like I didn't know how to work around it, and suddenly I just saw a different perspective when I was washing the dishes, and it was just like this light bulb just went switched off, like switched on rather, and it just came on. It's like, oh, okay, yes, that's the thing. All we need to do is create space, and this is the thing that often we're rushing, doing, busy. And I'm setting like this also. Like there are times where I have so many projects and things going on, and it does take discipline. It does take a moment to really slow down, come back to stillness, come back to presence, create the space. Create the space. Often that's what a lot of people are searching for, and they don't even realize it. Struggling with anxiety or worries or feeling overwhelmed, come back to the space, create some space. Come back to the stillness, come back to the present moment. Come back to the breath. And connecting to that, then what we're doing is we're creating this wonderful environment for us to be witness to whatever insights need to come up in that moment. So that's a little bit about finding the answers externally and also internally. And when we have a combination of both, now that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. When we can have a conversation with a loved one and ask them for their perspective, or seek support with a professional, that they can then help us and navigate us in finding the answers within. Or we adopt a journaling practice, or we simply just take a moment to place our hand on our heart and take an inhale and exhale each day before we start the day or as we end the day. And we can ask any questions like, what's my heart communicating right now? What does my soul know about whatever the situation is that we're finding challenging? So I'll leave that there. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this also. If there are any ways that you you also find beneficial in terms of like connecting with yourself or connecting like any wonderful insights you've learned from others? Like what's been the best advice that you've learned from others? I'd love to hear in the comment section. One of the pieces of advice that I always remember, they would always say, be like a salmon. Be like a salmon, a wild salmon that is so connected to its natural instinct, and it does what it needs to do, and it swims against the current up the stream, because that's what wild salmons do. And it does the opposite to the other fish. So it doesn't mean that we have to do the opposite to other people, but it just means that we're so connected to what feels right and what is our natural instinct, like really connecting to our intuition and our soul and our heart, and like living life according to that. Now that's a powerful thing. So I will be back again next week, and those of you who are interested in learning more, then do listen to the podcast. I've got the podcast, which is also on YouTube, and every 2 weeks the episodes come out. It's also on all the platforms as well, like Spotify, Anchor, Apple, like whatever platform you use. I tend to use, well, like either YouTube or Spotify, but other people prefer to use Anchor, or like it's there on all of them. And yeah, that every 2 weeks I'm bringing out new topics, and there's some really important topics coming up over the next few months, the next few episodes, and also after that. And I'll be talking a little bit more about creating change as well, and also the soul art sessions as well. I'll be talking about that in some upcoming episodes. So you can learn more about that on my website. I've got the link in the description. And creating change is coming up in March. So we start March the 22nd. And if you haven't heard about creating change, it's like one of my favorite things ever. It's a training that came together when I was going through a very, very difficult time. And it's through my own integration and practice that all these ideas and techniques and processes came up, and I documented it all in 2 notebooks. I've got like 2 notebooks filled up with all these different notes, and it became a training, and I called it Creating Change, the Art of Expansion, Connection, and Celebration. For me, it's all about falling back in love with ourselves and life. And it's all about reconnection at 5 different points. We have 5 different modules. So we connect to ourselves, we connect to others, we connect to something beyond our identity, whatever our spiritual beliefs are. And even if we don't have any spiritual beliefs, you can also look to quantum physics and science, and that will talk a little bit more about the non-physical. And also connecting with our body and connecting with nature. So we cover those 5 things, and we explore that through creative arts and through dance and through group exercises and different insight practices. So it's one of the best things. It is so much fun to dance as a group, whether that's online or in person. There are different options, and it's so much fun. The past students have loved it, and one student described it as life-changing. Like they just felt that it was so powerful to dance and to really learn about ourselves and grow and evolve through physical embodiment, like really getting out of the mind and into the body, that this is really powerful. So yes, that will be starting soon, Creating Change. And there's different options as well. So if you can't join for the whole training, you can literally pick and choose one workshop and join for that if you wanted. So I've made it really flexible for everyone, so you can pick and choose like what works for you. So that's coming up soon. If you want a taster, then I have got a 3-day challenge coming up, another one. The last one was all about awakening to the magic of life, and the next one will be all about self-tenderness. Self-tenderness. This is a huge topic, and it's a real journey. It's not like an end destination. It's an ongoing exploring, unfolding, uncovering, discovering journey, how to bring a little more tenderness to ourselves. And I'll be sharing about my personal experiences with this. This has been a huge area of learning for me, and really moving away from any negative self-talk, inner critic, and just bringing a little bit more tenderness to ourselves. So that'll be a 3-day training. I will put the link. So after the Zoom, not the Zoom, the live, spend so much time on Zoom. I will put the link in the description, and you can check it out. We start in February. So yeah, there's a few things coming up. Free challenge, got the podcast, and creating change, the training, the fun training, plenty of dance and creativity, because that's the thing. Self-awareness, self-discovery doesn't need to be serious. We can make it fun. So I will leave that there. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you everyone who's watching the replay as well. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. And if you felt that this conversation about looking to the external and also the internal and how to find the answers to any challenge that we're navigating, then please do share this with a loved one. Every single share makes such a difference. The online world is a crazy world, and all the algorithms and all of that, it can be very challenging for independent individuals or small businesses to really spread the word. So every single share, like, comment makes such a difference. So thank you for that. Thank you, and I wish you a wonderful evening, morning, rest of the day, wherever you are. Much love.